Hey peeps, I'm just setting it up. I didn't even mean to hit record yet. I was just like, because I'm still looking for this timer. Right, let's get into it. So, I was thinking, the smoke, yes, I was thinking, about something that I saw. This was a while ago, and I kind of feel like it's something that needs to be touched on, something that needs to be said. Um, because I'm noticing a lot of people with a lot of ailments they're not supposed to necessarily have. And it has to do with something that I saw a while ago. So what I saw was it appeared to be like a big lump of flesh. That's the way it came through to me because there was so much mass to it and there really shouldn't have been. Um, and then I saw something similar to it in a television show, but I have to take that as a reminder, like this is something that needs to be said. A lot of times we'll dream stuff or we'll see something and then it will come up on something and it'll be like weird, like, yo, I was thinking something like that the other day. Or I had a dream like that the other day. And so we dismiss it like, that's something from that television show, or that's something that, it doesn't have anything to do with you, but in its own right, it's a message. And sometimes, like in my case, the message needs to be told because I have this little problem called, oh, if I don't say it, it may just keep coming back. Sometimes, depending on what's going on at that time, it'll just keep coming back the same day, just nonstop. Just like I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop hearing about it. We got a little problem going on here. Let's see something. But yeah, so here's what it is that I saw. And what I saw it on was like, I think it was like the Wayfair sisters, something like that. It's some Anne Rice um um adapted television show, like her book, but I saw something similar to it in a dream months before it aired on television. So what I'm seeing is that there was at the time one individual being, and I believe that this is someone that's very much alive, okay? Very much alive, but they have the ability to manipulate energy. They can feel it, they can touch it, and they can feel it touching them. And whoever this person is, they have realized that they don't want these other people and or beings energies touching them. So what they had been doing is they had been slamming them into another's um energy. Now that's bad. It's really bad. Okay? And although I saw that they were doing this on purpose, I don't think that they're around the people or the beings because it's totally possible that some of these beings are their ancestors, some of these beings are their spirit guides. Remember, everything is energy. And what they're doing is they're slamming them into each other and they're getting entangled energetically with each other. And there's so many of them, they're stuck together. And let's put that to the side real quick, okay? And let's talk about what happens if, let's say, a wife, because I saw this with my mother's friends. So there was a wife and a husband. They were both elderly. They were both older than my mother. And at the time, she lived in this apartment complex. And she was the person who, um, for a discount on her rent, she actually was the person who ran the clubhouse. And one of the things that she did for them was on Saturday mornings, I believe it was Saturday. I don't think it could have been Sunday, but I believe it was Saturday. Saturday mornings, every Saturday morning, she would get down there and she would cook them pancakes. She would cook them sausage, hash browns. One of the women would bring eggs. Like they would do this as a group. A lot of the reason for them doing this is not just a free meal, but the older ones. Now we're at the time we were in Southern California, and if you've never been in Southern California, you may not understand, especially San Diego County, how expensive it is to live in California. There's a lot of homeless people in California. So, and I mean homeless people who have jobs, okay? They're living in their cars. They may have a shelter, but shelters are very few and far between, okay? And these people, they have places there where they can wash, they can get haircuts, they have um uh people who help them with food for breakfast and lunch day. But that's the people that's out on the street. That's the actual homeless. These people weren't homeless. They just couldn't afford more than their rent. If they could barely afford the rent. But when it came down to it, you would think that they would have all of these benefits, but they didn't. What they had was my mom at the time. And a lot of them eventually died she before she left California, but she would feed them breakfast. Now, the wife would say that her husband was always happy to see my mom. She was his favorite person besides his wife. And it was because he loved her pancakes. This man had dementia. His wife had cancer. Now, he died, okay? And at the same time, there was another man that lived on the same floor as my mom, but literally like around the corner. And because they had an open courtyard, my mom had an open courtyard in front of her front door, and when she looked out her window, there was a bigger courtyard with the pool. So this man lived directly around the corner, a whole completely different man. Both of them had dementia. Both of them died kind of like back to back. Now, the man who lived around the corner, he also had a wife, and she referred to him as Mr. I think Brown. Mr. Brown. She was an Asian lady and they married when he was older, and she referred to him as Mr. Brown to everyone. And she said Mr. Brown died. Now, me being me, before anybody knew that Mr. Brown died, she was, uh, the last time anyone had seen her, she was walking around asking anyone if they had seen Mr. Brown because he had a tendency to uh, he had a tendency to wander off. He had dementia. He had a tendency to wander off, but he could get out of the complex. It was gated, being like most places is gated to get in the whole thing. Well, you can get into that parking lot, but the building itself, okay. Sorry about that phone ringing. Confirmation. The building itself was gated, so it was a senior community, so he couldn't necessarily get out as easy. Well, he could get out, but he couldn't get back in. Let's just put it that way. But so she would kind of be freaking out about Mr. Brown. So me being me, I'm at my mom's house sitting in her living room. It's the middle of the night, and I keep hearing this rattling of the doorknob. Now, Mr. Brown used to be confused, and he would go and he would always confuse my mother's door for his door. And he would go, and some people say he would go through all of them because his wife would keep the door open. So I'm sitting there, and the door is just rattling. It's the middle of the night, and I had been sick, so I was at my mom's house with my little people so that I could get better. Let's just put it this way. So rattling door, rattling door, rattling door. I get up like, who the heck? I look out the peephole, nobody there. Next day, same time, rattling door. The doorknob. I get up, I look out, nobody there, but the doorknob is still rattling. I back up like, I'll go sit down. Because I'm not opening that door. Nah, wrong door, boo. Wrong door, Mr. Brown. Then his wife comes around like 2 days later and she says, Mr. Brown died. No one knew Mr. Brown had died. But that's a whole completely different story. Let me get back to the original one. So this woman, Mr. Brown wasn't the only one who would always come to my mom's door. He's just an example of they would always come to our door. Mr. Brown had died and he was still coming to my mother's door. Now, my mom might have heard a rattle, went to the door, opened it. Did she just invite Mr. Brown in? Okay. So, unknowing, she may have actually invited him in. Difference is, I was like, nah. Nah. Wrong door. Okay. So, what I, okay, so you got a wife. She has cancer. You got a husband. He has dementia. Both of them in like their 80s and 90s, right? They spend more time around my mother than they do with their own children, okay? Because their children hadn't been coming around at all. They didn't have enough money for their for them to eat. And a lot of times, my mom, she would take her own money and she would cook like stews and things like that. And she would make it big enough where they would just come to our house, get a bowl or a plate, and take with their bowl or plate and just take it home. They didn't necessarily have to eat with her, but she would make enough for everyone. And well, all of her friends who she knew for a fact, some of them had that thing where you come, what is it called, where they bring the food to the elderly people, but that's only one time a day, or it was the way it was set up for them. It was only one time a day. You got two elderly people in the house and they could only eat one time a day. So my mom was like, no, we're going to do something about that, and she was feeding them. You know what they say, or at least my grandma used to say, about feeding strays. Now, I'm not saying that these people are strays, but what I'm saying is they always come back, right? And that's what they needed her though. And it made her feel good to help these people. But they continued to come back. So the man dies, and his wife, she gets really sick. And if you go back, I said something about people, elderly people, feeding off of energy from the children. Right? Okay. So let's say she's not doing that, but they are in that type of uh in that type of energetic union where she is giving him her energy, but she's sick. She's not pulling energy from anyone, but she's still giving him energy. People, you do not have to pull people's nasty ass energy, be nasty energy from them. If you are a person, a being, okay, and you know that you have the potential to be, because everybody has the potential to be an energy vampire. Everyone, all of us, we all have the potential to be that. Stop absorbing it from the people. What you're doing is you are taking good and bad, which is bad for you. But some people are so into absorbing energy from people that they continue to do it. What I'm noticing is the people who were around me at the time, they would do it to the children. And when I say that these little old ladies, it was normally a lot of times it was ladies and they had a male counterpart with them. And they would sit there and what they're doing, what she's doing is she's absorbing from her environment and she's feeding him. Now, she was sick enough, this woman was sick enough with cancer that she couldn't feed him anymore. And he died. He had dementia. He died. Okay? Now, like I said, these two people were my mom's friends. And maybe they were absorbing some energy from her. Maybe me being who I am, I spent very little time around him. Being around him would have made his mind clear up. Okay? I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. His whole everything would have cleared up if nothing more than him being around my own energy. And so he like I said, he died. She couldn't continue to give him her energy. But because of the type of relationship that they had energetically, the union that they had with each other, because they've been married forever, she as soon as he died, she became really ill. Now she was upset that her husband had died, but she knew he was dying. Okay? And they didn't have anyone but them. Their children weren't the children knew that they were sick. They didn't even come around them. So, but I think that they lived kind of far away. And so, when he died, not only did she end up with cancer, she ended up almost immediately with dementia. Now, most people are going to say, well, Brandy, this woman was already in her 80s. She was already sick. And because she was already sick, this death caused her energetically, her energetic form. It was too much on her body. Her energetic form couldn't keep up. Okay? And that's how she ended up with dementia. We hear this all the time that the elderly they ended up with dementia, especially when their significant other pass away. They can't deal with it. The heartache is too much, and one of the things that happen is that they have dementia. Okay. So she lived a few, I want to say maybe 6 to 12 months longer than him, or longer after he died. But she was so messed up, she couldn't even recognize my mother. She didn't even recognize her no more. And this is one of her friends she saw every day. Okay. Um, the almost as soon as she died, no, before she died, the family finally came because they put her in a home because she couldn't take care of herself, and it was getting worse and worse and worse so fast that they ended up putting her in a facility where she lived out the rest of her life. When she left the home, now I'm still at my mom's. When she left the home, I almost immediately, like, I want to say 2 days later, I kept hearing, I need you to find my wife. Where's my wife? What happened to her? Now, like I said, these people used to come to my mom all the time, and it would have been my mom that he went to. And I don't know if spiritually I look enough like my mom to them that they're coming to me, or it's just me being me. Because my mom and I are not one and the same. I have what I have. She has her own gifts. Okay? She's always had her own gifts. But my mom is older, and so she's going through her own things now. And so they came to me. And he's like, my wife, she's gone. Where did she go? And he's talking about the children. And I'm like, like he's like, I need you to find my wife. And I'm like, who are you? Because I don't understand who this is. He's not showing himself to me. I'm just hearing this. Okay. And I'm like, um, what's your wife's name? Okay. He died with dementia. He knew that she was supposed to be in that apartment. He couldn't tell me her name. He knew. And by then, he followed me from California to Georgia. And then when I finally realized who he was, I told him that she went with his child. He said, thank you. And he went to his child. Here's the problem. He got to her. His wife had already passed. No wife. He comes back. He's like, I can't find her. Where is she? And I had to tell him, she passed on. She she transitioned. You did not. You need to transition to get to her. He understood that actually. He understood that. All right. Oh, and he didn't come back after that. So thank you. Because he was really, when he came back, he was mad. He was angry. And I'm like, okay. When I told him what I told him, she was still alive. She went with his child. Okay. They put her in the home. I didn't know that part because, well, she was on my radar by then. But I had found out that the woman died. So I told him he had to transition. He had to do what it is that she did to be with her. And he really only just wanted to be with her. And it's like, oh, you know, but at the same time, your loved ones, they have to pass on. You got to release them. She didn't release him and he didn't release her, but then she had dementia. She couldn't remember to release him. So it's really, really hard on the ones that pass over too. But let's get back to what I was originally talking about. So this person is slamming other energy into like this big bulk group of energy. So for whatever reason, I kept feeling myself being pushed aggressively, and I can feel energy like it's a physical thing in front of me, like I can feel the air like I'm touching a wall. Okay, so whoever this is grabbed me and tossed me into another bunch of energy. And this is something they were doing all the time. And so, for whatever reason, whenever this person would move, the energy, this bulk, mass of energy would move with them. So they weren't totally untethered from this energy, but I felt like they were dragging me from point A to point B spiritually. And I was like off kilter for a while. And then I was like, "Ah," because my head felt, uh, I'm hearing mush brain. Mush brain. No, that's the flu. That's what I feel like when I have the flu. It's not mush brain. It's when you kind of feel off. It feels like I can't remember the word, but I've been hearing it a lot. What people don't understand is if you have a spirit or an entity on you, one, just one, it tries to take over your body. Now, let's say that's just one. If you have multiples all at the same time, and there's a lot of people out there that have multiple energies on them, that person appears to either be schizophrenic, they appear to be bipolar, because there is one after the other. One minute they're like this, the next minute they're like that. They have, it's not always what it seems like. It could honestly be spiritual beings grouped up on this one body. Your body is your body. That is your soul's form. It's yours. When other souls decide, well, I want that body, you watch out for people who live vicariously through you. You watch out for people who are envious of you. Oh, I really love your complexion. You watch out for that. Oh, your skin is so soft. You watch out for these people, because you'll find that all of a sudden your skin is dry. Dry, like, because they are trying to absorb. And sometimes, I'm not going to say it always, some people don't know what they have. You got a lot of people who are unwoke woke people. They are doing what they're doing, just talking, okay? And I'm checking the time because I might be running out of time. And I didn't get to the point yet. You have a lot of unwoke woke people, and they just say anything. And I tell people all the time, you have these people in your life who mean well, but they're manifesting bad stuff against you. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. See, it's coming out. They're manifesting bad stuff against you. I'm going off on a whole nother thing, so I'm gonna come back to that because that is a whole nother video. If you feel like you are scatterbrained, just out of nowhere, okay? You feel like you are floating, just out of nowhere. More than likely, you have something on you. More than likely, it's either another person who's around you, because, like I said, you got these freaking energy vampires and people who knowingly do it and people who unknowingly do it. But this particular person was just throwing people, just slamming energies into energies. So if you're finding that you got a lot of weird stuff happening around you and you feel like you're being pulled in this direction and that direction, and you're sitting there minding your business, but you feel like a physical feeling of being pulled, or you're a person who falls a lot, just 1 minute you're standing there, the next minute you just fell, you probably have something around you. More than likely, you have something around you. Um, like I said, if you have one thing around you, it's like your whole personality is different. If you have more than one thing around you, it's like your personality is swinging from one direction to another direction, and none of it may be your original personality. Okay? But when it comes down to someone slamming all of them into each other, you're going to always start to feel different. And it could literally be that you feel like you can't breathe. Okay? You need to take the time and learn how to move your energetic body. It is not hard at all. It's just that most people are like, that shit is in your head, it's in your imagination, it's in your mind. It is. It is, and you need to use your imagination to be able to do it. And if you do not use your imagination, you might smother. You might be smothered to death spiritually, and your doctor can't figure out what's wrong with you. You got a mass in your chest, and the doctor can't figure out what's wrong with you because he don't see it, but you feel it. Okay? And the doctor is telling you, no, no, there's nothing there. So then they give you the stupid diagnosis because, oh, well, they really want to say it's a figment of your imagination, but you feel it. There's something on your chest. Okay? Now, if you are feeling this mass, and you can tell that that's what it is by moving your energy body. If you're feeling it and you have something that is taller than you on you. Now you might not, maybe you kind of thick and the one that's on you is skinny. So your arms might feel fine, okay? But all of the center of you, it is you feel off. Maybe tingly, maybe floaty. You're not supposed to actually feel like that if you're grounded. One of the things that I want you to do is visualize you, an energetic version of you. And how you identify you from your physical form and your energy form is make your energy form slightly translucent. You can do that. You can make it look just identical to you, Or you can make it look a little translucent so you can identify you. Because you can turn your energetic form completely around and stare at your own physical form. You just got to believe that you can do it. Now, I want you to practice moving your energy body and start going like this. Not your physical form, your energy body. If you feel movement, a sensation that's off, you could be trapped in the energy form of your grandparents. It could be your grandfather. Okay? Like sometimes, excuse me, mm, mm, mm. Sometimes I was so nasty. I'm sorry, guys, but I needed to get it out. Sometimes we our well-meaning grandparents, they want to keep track of us, or and especially in my generation, because a lot of my generation was raised by the grandparents, because the parents, I grew up when crack was really really bad. Like it was really really bad. I grew up in the hood, and crack was really bad, and a lot of my friends either grew up with their grandparents or like in group homes or foster care because their parents were strung out on drugs. I'm one of the well, I'm not part of it, but I remember when the first crack baby that was documented in the United States was born. She was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. She was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And she is like, I was like preteen, I think, maybe. So yeah, I'm giving my age. But she, like, I remember that. So back to what it is that I was saying. Like a lot of us, we grew up with our grandparents, and our grandparents were protective of us because their own children had succumbed to crack and other drugs, and they were out there on the street, and they weren't able to take care of the grandchildren, and we had these seniors who shouldn't have had to take care of babies, but they were taking care of babies anyway. And so it could just be, honestly, grandma or grandpa, and they just connected their energy towards you. They were energetically keeping an eye on you. As they got older, um, your energy actually helped them. And they didn't necessarily intend to have that energy vampire type of situation with you, but when you were going through your highs, they were like perky. And when you were going through your lows, they were like, what's the matter, baby? Okay? Because they could feel it. They could physically feel it. Um, Start with, and you don't have to do it clockwise or counterclockwise, just, you know, this is actually loosening up your energy from their energy. And this is actually helping you identify you energetically. Okay? If you don't if you don't feel it, it may be something else. Or you've been connected that way for so long that you gotta find you. And I hate to say it this way, but once you finally dislodge yourself from this massive energy, baby, your whole personality may change. The real you, your real personality, will come out. Okay? So at some point, if you start to feel you, and like I said, you've had like brain fog, I want you to lean forward and hold it energetically for like a minute, just lean forward. You will notice that the first thing to happen is your brain fog clears up. Now, if this person had a big belly or something, you may need to lean back, okay? Because your back can get big, but it's only gonna get but so big. It's still gonna be somewhat flat in comparison to a big belly. So you may need to do this exact opposite and lean back, but do it energetically, not your body, because they're on your body. Okay? The reason I'm saying this to you is because you will know if there is something on you if your head, your mind, the fog just goes away. Confirmation. You will know that there is something on you because that breathing problem you have clears up. Now understand, right now, my mother is going through something in her chest. And this is something that she needs to do, in my opinion. Two of my grandmothers died having COPD. And right now, my mother has a diagnosis of COPD. Okay? Not everybody's going to listen. Not everybody wants to hear what it is that I have to say. And I understand that. But if you know someone who's going through something and they're even slightly into their spirituality, send them this video. Let them watch it. I know I rambled on about a lot of stuff, but I came back to what it is that I was trying to tell you. If you have something on you, your personality is going to change. If you have something on you, your physical body might feel like it's attacking you. Okay? All of a sudden, you have all of these ailments. Where did these ailments come from? Right? If you have more than one something on you, you may to other people, like one, your personality change. Two, not only did your personality change, but you're swinging from here to there. Okay? Next, I'm going to talk about dementia. But I think I'm going to leave that for a whole nother video. This video was long enough. And, yeah, I'm just going to log back on and do a whole nother video because that's a whole nother video. One thing I keep forgetting to tell you guys, like, subscribe, and share. I always forget to say this. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm trying to build up my, you know, my followers. I think right now I have like maybe 5 or 6 or something like that. And I'm like, so yeah, um, like, subscribe, follow, and I'm gonna close this one out on right there, and I'm gonna come back because we're gonna get right back on this subject, and we're gonna talk about dementia. Okay? All right, peeps. See you in a little bit. Bye.